Hello, Sonoma County. So Sonoma County has long been known as wine country, which of course is appropriate, but with food and beer scenes kind of making waves locally, we might need to change that to foodie country. And okay, hold on. It's not just me thinking this because Santa Rosa was actually just named the #1 foodie location in the entire US. Right here.
It's crazy.
Hold on, we're gonna go through a lot of fun stuff, but first, I'm Morgan.
Oh, I'm Julie.
And we actually help people move into and out of and all over Sonoma County every year. So if you're thinking about visiting or you're making a move either now or in a few months down the road, go ahead and click subscribe, hit the bell, that way you're notified when we share more helpful information about all things Sonoma County.
I guess before we jump into some food scene stuff that we're going to talk about, how did this happen? little Santa Rosa. The way they came to determine we were the #1 foodie place in the nation was they looked at how many local restaurants we have versus chain restaurants.
Yep.
How many Whole Foods and cookware stores we have. And they also looked at like how many wineries, wine rooms, breweries.
I think that probably skewed our numbers a bit.
You think so?
Yeah, and then they also had farmers markets, which we have a ton of farmers markets countywide, right?
Yes. So Santa Rosa actually scored, when they looked at all these different variables, Santa Rosa scored 80.9%, which I guess was the highest ranking of everything.
We made it as #1.
Yeah.
So, Sonoma County really has a diverse food scene, from casual fare, fun little restaurants, to Michelin-rated restaurants all over the county. And right here in Santa Rosa, we have, oh my gosh, some of the best names there are. And so we're gonna go through about a dozen of our favorite restaurants. And then we'll get into some of the breweries that you should probably check out. And of course, we can't, close out this video without talking about the wineries. So, drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please.
Let's jump into restaurants.
Yes, let's start with the restaurants. So here in Santa Rosa and countywide, we have the Starks family restaurants. Yep. They have 7 restaurants countywide, and 5 of them are in Santa Rosa.
Totally.
In fact, before we did this, came to start putting this video together, we actually you did a poll.
Yeah, I did an Instagram and Facebook poll, just kind of blindly throwing out to all of our followers because we thought it was kind of just a fun way to gauge what really is a favorite. And I just put out there, what is your favorite Santa Rosa restaurant? No other insight, question, prompts, or anything. And about 90% of the responses that we got back were one of the 5 Starks restaurants right here in Santa Rosa. So we figured we should probably start with those ones since they are likely the most well-known.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, with that being said, you got to start with Starks Steak and Seafood.
Yeah.
I think it was the original of their family group of restaurants. It's a really casually elegant, traditional steakhouse.
Yes,
really, steak and seafood.
Yeah.
With the traditional menu you would see at most steakhouse, but the food is just so consistent there. I mean, when you're
to
going,
die for.
You want to bring friends or family or out of town people, you're going to get a good meal there. They are also known for probably the most famous happy hour there.
They have my vote for best happy hour in Sonoma County.
Honestly, I mean, if you're not there by like 3:30 on a Friday, you will not even get into that bar. And it's a big bar. I mean, you won't get a seat. But not only do they have wonderful craft cocktails, the food menu at their happy hour is incredible. I mean, it's dinner. You make it dinner. I mean, you get Starks for a discount at happy hour. I think the next Starks restaurant to talk about would be Monty's.
Oh gosh, love Monty's.
Monty's is the best. It's kind of they call it a Mediterranean kind of theme. Yeah. They have the huge brick oven that sits right in the middle of the restaurant, and when you walk in, it always just smells so good in there. And again, the food is so fresh and well prepared and consistent. I mean, across the board, that's why Starks restaurants
they have a great
are so
patio.
Good. Oh, wonderful patio! Yeah. And it's in a quaint little shopping area called Montgomery Village, which makes it an ideal little location as well. Then there's Bird in the Bottle, one of their newer restaurants to the restaurant family. it is actually in an old home, like an older home, which is kind of cool. And they call it a tavern style, which I think because it's probably anchored by this big kind of tavern style bar right in the middle of the restaurant. Cool. They do have entree meals, but they're also known for their small plate choices.
Yeah, kind of tapas style. It's like a kind of casual share environment.
Yeah, really fun with great deck and patio space as well. Then Willie's Wine Bar.
Oh gosh,
so happy that reopened. They actually moved locations because their original Willie's Wine Bar burned in our 2017 fires. So we were without it for a while.
I know, we're so happy to have it back.
Yes, and it is truly a small plates.
Yeah. And truly menu. A wine bar. I mean, that's gosh, they have so many amazing wines. The selection is kind of endless.
And a lot are offered by the glass, which is really fun because you can try some different ones. And then, actually, the newest restaurant is this next one is Grossman's New York Style Deli. Yeah. It is like, if you have ever been to a New York deli, this is exactly it. I mean, you can get the pastrami and corned beef sandwiches where the meat is just piled high on the rye bread.
Oh gosh, and the homemade bagels.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, it's truly like a Jewish New York deli.
Yeah, but absolutely.
It's very, very fun.
Yeah, just high quality food across the board. Yeah. And, you know, as much as we love Stark's, there's a few other restaurants we'd love to also share, one of which being Le Gare. It's Santa Rosa's most famous French restaurant, and I would say it's, you know, kind of a special occasion restaurant. It's a little more formal, you go out, nice dinner out. Consistent, wonderful food every single time. The waitstaff are so sweet and accommodating, and they've actually been named the most romantic restaurant in Sonoma County year over year. So birthdays or date night or especially anniversaries, highly recommend. Ooh, Valentine's, of course, how can I forget that one? Highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, just a staple here in town. And I guess we have to talk about our Mexican food.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I am a real Mexican food fan.
Really, she is.
And we have some of the best. I mean, I have tried Mexican food.
Yeah, we've traveled all over. I mean, Sonoma County food blows pretty much anywhere else out of the water. So,
right. But our Mexican food is so authentic and just delicious. We have, you know, from the Mexican food trucks where, I mean, there's just lines of people. I mean, it's really an economical way to eat out. They're usually not that expensive.
Yeah.
To lots of little taquerias all throughout Santa Rosa. And then we do have some nice sit-down dinner out Mexican restaurants. I think right now my favorite is probably Los Moljeques.
Oh gosh, yeah.
They have like 3 locations in Santa Rosa now.
Yeah, they do.
And again, the food's just fresh. The people are just so nice that work there. It's just a really fun, upbeat atmosphere. They have the full bar, great margaritas, great food. They have the Moljeques bowls where it comes in those hot lava bowls, and you can get any combo,
and seafood,
whatever you want, whatever combo.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
So then, Italian food. We have, gosh, so many good Italian little places, but I'm going to go with the main 2 that are probably the most well-known. First, we're going to go with La Coco's. La Coco's is right in kind of the downtown area of Santa Rosa, and it is true, authentic Italian. In fact, John La Coco, the owner, he's from Sicily, and so when he opened the location here in Santa Rosa, he wanted it to feel like you're stepping off the street in Santa Rosa and into Italy in like a little quaint restaurant, and I think he pretty much nailed it. The food is impeccable. Oh my gosh, the wait staff, I mean, everything about it, it's quite an experience. And actually it has been ranked as the best Italian restaurant in all of the North Bay, not just Sonoma County, all of the North Bay for the last 12 years in a row. Like,
that's not easy. It's not easy to do.
No, it's really not. So definitely a must try. And then beyond that, totally different feel, totally different vibe, but still a crowd pleaser, would be Mary's Pizza Shack. Mary's Pizza Shack was started here in Sonoma County. There's 3 locations in Santa Rosa, and it's more of a family kind of casual restaurant. Pizza, pasta, salads, the most amazing salad dressings. They make homemade. You'll crave them after a while. I know I do. And it's one of those places that it's been around for so long that if you didn't grow up going there after your baseball games or having your birthday parties there, you probably worked there as a teenager like I did and my siblings did. It's kind of like that hometown anchor, and highly recommend go check it out.
Yeah, really. That really fun place.
And
you do crave that Mary salad every now and then. And really, we could go on and on.
I know.
We really have different food here for every palate. I mean, there is Indian, sushi, Thai, vegan and vegetarian restaurants that are awesome. And seafood. You know, Bodega Bay is not that far away, and it's famous for their oysters that you can get all over town. So it's lots of choices if you want to eat out in Santa Rosa.
It really is.
I get it now. I get why they were voted #1.
So now we've talked about food, and now we're all starving. But let's also make you thirsty. Shall we talk about beer and wine?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the brewery scene in Sonoma County wide has really had a big boom over the last 5 to 10 years. And there's a lot right here in Santa Rosa. And I think if we're talking about Santa Rosa breweries specifically for this, we cannot start the conversation without first addressing Russian River Brewery here.
For sure.
Russian River Brewery was one of the first on the scene. It actually opened its doors to start making craft beer in 1997. A few years later, they opened their location down on 4th Street, where they still are. And it's a totally cool, casual, laid-back, brewery tap room. They got great pizzas and salads. They have the most amazing spinach salad I think I've ever had in my life. I know I tell everyone about it, but I think when you have it paired with one of their delicious beers, your salad tastes better or something. I don't know. But it's one of those places that has just really made a name for themselves, not only locally, but worldwide. People travel from all over the world to get in there, so a lot of days you may have a little bit of a wait to get in, but it's worth the wait. And then one time a year, I believe it's in about February, they release what they call the Pliny the Younger. We have Pliny the Elder here, which is available year-round in their breweries, and then once a year they release the Pliny the Younger. The line is, oh my gosh, it's hilarious to drive down 4th Street because there will be a line outside all day long. People will wait 3, 4, 5+ hours to get in, grab a bite. They get a couple tastes or pints of the Pliny the Elder, or Younger, Pliny the Younger. Wow. And it really draws a lot of people from around the world because it only happens once a year. So definitely,
it's funny because it usually rains.
Yeah,
and they
it's
wait
true.
in line.
Yeah. So definitely a good try there. Kind of similar to that with the full, brewery with a restaurant feel is then Fog Belt. Also right here in Santa Rosa. Fog Belt has some really fun, different flavored beers, which I really enjoy. But I think one of the things they're really well known for is the kind of beer and food tastings. They have a great restaurant right there where they have so many different flavors. I mean, the chef in there, they do a great job, and then they take their beers and pair them perfectly with maybe they'll do a pretzel with different cheeses and mustards with the right beers, and it's just like this flavor explosion in your mouth, and who wouldn't want that? So Fog Belt's one to check out, and then kind of a different vibe. We also have a lot of other smaller, kind of more beer garden or just straight up breweries that don't have the whole restaurant with them. One of which is Iron Ox Brewing, and the other one is Hen House. And both of these are great. You can pop in casual. They got kind of indoor, outdoor options for seating. And then usually on the weekends or evenings, they bring in local food trucks. And so you kind of get a different flavor of food depending on when you go with the same consistent delicious beers. So if this didn't woo you, along with all the restaurants to come check it out, I think we should also talk about wine.
Let's talk about wine.
Okay.
Well, since I'm not much of a beer drinker, I'm more than happy to talk about the wineries that we love in Santa Rosa. I think first and foremost would be La Crema. I've personally been a wine member there for years. It is kind of a bigger international brand with big production. But the fun part is when you go to the winery, which is beautiful, set out in the middle of their vineyards with amazing views. But when you go there to taste, you're not tasting. Is it wine 30 already?
Well, I brought my wine opener for prop, but I kind of felt bad just leaving all of our stuff sitting here.
Trapped in the bottle?
Yeah! Come on.
Oh, you're so funny. So yeah, when you go, back to La Crema. When you're at La Crema, the fun part is you get to taste wines that you're not going to buy in the grocery store. It is kind of their wine club and special winery vintages and they make some delicious wine. all across the whites and the reds. So very, very, very fun. I love going up to La Crema. They do some great charcuterie boards you can have with your wines as well, which makes it really fun. Another one of our fan favorites is Boleto, and Morgan's been a member there for years.
Oh,
it's a started out as a smaller family-run winery, but I'd say now it's probably like a medium-sized.
Definitely. Quite well known.
Still family-run. Can find the Boleto wines in many, if not most, of our local restaurants. This was a farming family from back in the day before they were doing wine. They were big vegetable growers, and they would sell at farmers markets and a lot of the smaller grocery stores here in Sonoma County. And their oldest son John, who is running the winery now, came to his parents and said, "There's no money in zucchini, and we need to start planting grapes." And his parents kind of said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. That's never going to take off. And he kind of worked on them for a while, and they kind of slowly started taking out the vegetables and replacing them with grapes. And really, really glad they did.
So glad they did. I mean,
some of the best Pinots and Chardonnays again in the county, in our opinion. And then a personal favorite of ours is Hook and Ladder Winery. We partner with them a lot with community events. They're real big about helping out in the community. Hook and Ladder is named that because it is owned by a retired San Francisco fireman. And they just have more fun out there on their property. There's bocce ball and picnic grounds. Not all wineries allow this, but they're fine with letting you bring your picnic basket, open their bottle of wine, have your sandwiches, your charcuterie boards, and play bocce ball. And
kind of gives it more of that like family-run business, homier feel when as soon as you walk in and they allow that kind of stuff. Like you just want to stay a while.
Totally. And I love in the tasting room the whole big windowed area that looks out onto their winemaking operations. And many days when you're there, they are just actively working and producing the wine right there for you to see and follow along. So it makes it really fun. And I think our other probably favorite and a great destination is the St. Francis. It is, again, kind of a bigger national brand, but when you go to the winery, you don't feel that at all. Gosh. Again, all these wineries, I keep saying how beautiful they are, but I mean, they are. You just go there and they're absolutely gorgeous. But the fun thing at St. Francis is they actually took 2 acres of their property and they farm it with herbs and vegetables and fruit trees. They have a top chef there, and they have these food and wine pairing experiences that you can do when you're doing your tasting. And all the produce grown right there on property is used in the dishes that he serves you. So it makes it really fun. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg of wonderful wineries, but there's some of our faves. We wanted to share them.
And we opened, because we couldn't leave it trapped in a bottle, of course, we opened the St. Francis Zinfandel from their Artisan collection. It's the Monticello Vineyard. It is to die for. So we'll take a little taste and then we'll leave you be. But if you have some ideas, or if you've been to Sonoma County, or you're from Sonoma County, and you have restaurants that you love, put them in the comments. We'd love to hear, because over time we're also going to be popping into some of these wineries, restaurants, breweries, giving a little bit more of an inside look, and so we'd love to know what you want to see.
Absolutely.
So cheers to that. Like and subscribe. Go ahead and follow along, and we'll hope to see you in Sonoma County soon. Cheers. Ooh.
Wow, that is good.
Yep.
That is very good.
That is tasty.
Yeah, that's really good.